Okay, it is Nicholas on Filmmunity PROs, here to talk about Mandalorian and Grogu, directed by Jon Favreau,
Our missing ace
starring
of
Pedro
spades.
Pascal, Scott Sigourney Weaver,
No one knows what he looks like.
Martin Scorsese's
Oh, for
voice,
this price, I'll tell you whatever you want.
Anthony Daniels, the original C-3PO as a cameo.
I'm looking for a
lot of
hut.
new actors, new musicians,
Close for the
a
night.
new vibe, a new kind of Star Wars.
Thank you.
Built off of a solid structure, one of the first new Disney Plus shows. So this is one of the first Star Wars TV shows I watched, other than as a kid watching the animated versions. This is interesting because the main character, the Mandalorian, is similar, if you remember the movies, to the cult character Boba Fett. He always has this metal mask on, and the more you hang out with this guy, the more you learn about their culture. They're actually like basically a different species, and it's made out of this specific metal, and it's like against their religion to remove their mask and show their face. So this makes for an interesting performance, whether you've seen the TV show or you watch the movie now, in that it's a voice performance and an action performance primarily, because you never see the emotions on his face, which is to the credit of Star Wars that this works so well, because those are um, two aspects of the genre, being like other species or legendary type characters, as well as action sequences. So on top of that, the Mandalorian has a little guy, his apprentice. His name's Grogu. In the original series, we called him Baby Yoda until he learned his name, and he is masterfully created through special effects. Most of them like actual, real, animate objects on set. This is an attesting to Frank Oz and probably Jim Henson, who originally were the inspirations and the voice of Yoda in the original series. And this movie is interesting because it almost brings the soul of Jim Henson, in my opinion, back, as well as hearkening to quite a few other movies such as Blade Runner, possibly Army of Darkness, and as well as all the Star Wars series in the past. I just can't say enough about the music, because I personally feel like John Williams is like played out quite a bit. I mean, he made some of the best soundtracks in the history of cinema, yeah, but it seems like it's been a very long time since he's done anything like particularly memorable. And although Ludwig Göransson doesn't have like any melodies that like are hummable or stick in your head, he does have that Hans Zimmer-esque atmosphere building vibe that makes you enjoy the interplay between the soundtrack and the storyline and the visuals like over and over again. Like you become conscious of it, but just enough not to like distract you from the story or whatever, and to see like the style behind the strings they're being pulled, or motions. That's what they say the music is doing. But yeah, he's an interesting musician, and it makes me want to know more about it. Did he score the show? Stuff like that. I don't know a whole lot about him other than his namesake is one of the great composers in the history of all time. And so these little creature guys, they're called the Anzellans, and they really ramp up the latter portion of the movie. The actress who plays them is Shirley Henderson, but they're like puppets that are so tiny that they're almost like feel like they're on like popsicle sticks, but they have massive amounts of personality, especially when they're in a group. And standing next to Grogu, they make Grogu look big, so they serve a great purpose. And they go on these adventures when they're going to save the Mandalorian, and Grogu is with them, and they're building stuff, and they're going through pipes and tunnels, and they're being scared of monsters, and they're saving the day. So it's definitely harkens back to the older Star Wars movies and fulfills that inner child in you. So I mean, I think more than anything, I mean, obviously it's a interplay between the two characters, but the Mandalorian played by Pedro Pascal and Grogu played by the visual effects artists, a non-speaking character who emotes solely through verbal cues and noises. Um, that's what the TV show did so well, and seeing this on the movie's theater screen, and especially knowing that some of the people in the audience, this was their first Mandalorian experience. And the way that I felt when I saw the first season, especially, it was like it felt like that the first time watching Star Wars originally when I was very young, and it brought back all that. So Jon Favreau, he's like the new spiritual successor to George Lucas because he's the one who helmed that show, and he's helming this movie, and is someone who's got a whole bunch of movies under his belt, the Iron Man trilogy, some of the Marvels, maybe. I can't remember specifically everything he's done, but I know he started as an independent filmmaker and an actor. Swingers was like one of his first movies, but he just, for whatever reason, has that same passion and gusto that George Lucas has, and it's like he'll just, till his last shred of energy, make sure that they're getting it right. And he's got the actor to do it, and then the visual effects artists to make it happen. So they got that triangle. And so, yeah, Grogu, great. The Mandalorian is just usually actors, it's all about their face and their expressions. And it's like Pedro Pascal is just all out, dives into the character. And it's like if that mask does come off, story wise, it's a very meaningful experience. And it makes you forget that you're watching an actor, you're watching someone really dive into the performance and deliver. So it's delivering on all three fronts, behind the scenes, visual effects wise and acting wise, on top of like all the supporting characters as well. So that's my thoughts and opinions on The Mandalorian and Grogu. In theaters right now. I'm gonna try to get this up while it's still there. And I'm hoping my new film style turns out okay. It's coming from different angles or perspectives a little bit. We'll see how it works out. After I took a little break for a while, not that I wasn't doing anything, but in terms of putting them online, these will be the first in a while, so let's see how they go. But either way, I hope you enjoyed my thoughts and opinions on The Mandalorian and Grogu. And feel free to share your opinions too, feedback, agree or disagree. If you like it, click like or subscribe or both.
What are you waiting for?
Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2 1 2 3.